Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So today we're exploring willpower. Mainly, well, of course, this is what it's used for, isn't it? A means to force ourselves pretty much to change our behaviour. And I remember reading once ages and ages ago, before I even came into this conversation, that willpower actually is a finite resource, i.e. it runs out. It runs out. We can't keep running on willpower. And I remember noticing this about myself in terms of in the days when I used to set these ridiculous goals and try and force myself to do things each day and found myself therefore procrastinating a lot, was on the days when I would do a task that I had been putting off, so I willpowered myself through a task, I would at the end of that day have a really low level of resistance to unhealthy food. So that would have me then often eating late or eating things after tea or eating chocolate, those kind of things. Almost like I just ran out of the ability to control myself. And I think that's the first thing to look at, isn't it? This idea of us controlling ourselves is forgetting, I think, that fundamentally that's the same. It's our thinking, trying to control our thinking so that we can behave better. So it's this thing of almost like trying to do your own brain surgery, which is not a good idea. Although I did have a funny comment the other day on when I'd done one of these sessions where somebody said they'd watched enough Casualty to be able to do their own brain surgery, but please, that's not what I'm advising you to do. So it just runs out. I'm sure you've seen that yourself, that when you're trying to change a particular habit or have new behaviour or better behaviour, perhaps healthier behaviour, it's quite often around food and exercise and things like that, isn't it? Or perhaps it's to do with your working life or your business or whatever, and trying to make yourself do things that it just doesn't work because you just seem to run out of steam, literally run out of steam. And I think the next thing to know about willpower is understanding behaviour and what behaviour actually is, and how it comes. Why do we behave in the way we behave? Why do we behave differently to other people? Why do people behave differently in the same situation? Why do we behave one way one day and a different way the next day? Like, what is it about behaviour? And I suppose the first thing to know about behaviour is it's the output, really. It's the end, isn't it? Like when we've done something, it's like that's the end of the something that's been happening inside us. The behaviour, what people see or what we see happening into the world of form, really, is the end. It's the output of a system. That's working all the time in a certain way. And I think it's that we don't know how the system works, that the behaviour gets the better of us, in inverted commas, because we don't really understand the system. So the things that I found most helpful to know about my system and therefore behaviour is the first thing is knowing when I'm in a good place, knowing when I'm connected to what's innate, knowing when I'm connected to my well-being, my clarity, my wisdom. And I know that I'm connected to those things when I'm when I feel okay. I don't feel riled up or upset or angry or anxious or, I just feel okay. I feel settled, I suppose is the word. And I think that's when I know that my state of mind is okay. And it's the opposite really. That those times when we're not connected to our well-being, when we're not in clarity, in calm, when we're not in a settled state of mind, it's those times that are warnings really. And that's what we misunderstand. When I used to have an uncomfortable feeling, I pretty much thought that either was coming from the outside world or could be solved by the outside world, or both. They need to stop doing that, or I can do this and I'll feel better. And it was very much this outside in trap, really. It's not just a paradigm, it's a trap when we're stuck there. And it's that misunderstanding. Now I know that when I'm in a poor state of mind, my body's going to tell me that. It's going to say, hang on, Claire, you're riled up, you're angry, you're upset, you're not in a good place right now. Maybe, don't act from that place, seems to be what my system says. That's not a good place to act from. So it's that kind of, I call it the awareness junction. It's my new little name for it. But it's that moment when we either think our feelings are created or can be solved in the outside world, or we realise that feeling is telling us we've got our state of mind isn't so good. Because of course it's that misunderstanding that causes the behaviour really. In the moment when we think the feelings are coming from the outside world, then when whatever thinking appears right then, chocolate's going to make me feel better, that person stopping that's going to make me feel better, not going to the gym will make me feel better, whatever it is, or I'll feel worse if I go to the gym, or I don't want to step that way because it's going to feel terrible. Whatever it is just a misunderstanding. It's just a misunderstanding. And then, of course, in that moment of misunderstanding, we believe our thinking. And I don't know about your thinking, but mine just spouts an awful lot of rubbish. It just eat that chocolate, it'll make you feel better. No, it probably won't. Won't it make you feel like it probably give me a sugar hangover? That's what generally happens when I eat chocolate. I am not advocating never eating chocolate, by the way. That's not at all. It's just an example. So those two things come together, us thinking our feelings are coming from the outside world or can be solved in the outside world, plus whatever thinking looks real to us in the moment. And how often do we hear our thinking? It's like a little voice in our head. Well, it sounds like it's us, doesn't it, with the voice, or that it's some power from on high that we must obey. It sounds like an instruction, but it's actually something that's been created. It's not an instruction at all, but in that moment it looks real. And I think what happens is you start to look in this direction where I'm pointing to, as you start to understand your thoughts and your feelings better. What I've noticed happening for me is and for people I work with, is just a gradual just falling away of old behaviours because they just don't occur in the system anymore. They don't make so much sense. It doesn't make so much sense to eat chocolate to make yourself feel better when you know you're going to feel better anyway. Because that's the other thing. The other thing is knowing that, deep inside knowing that I'm okay. I don't need to do anything to feel better. My capacity to feel better is innate to me. It belongs to me. It's part of me. I don't need to do anything outside of me to feel better because I know that thinking will pass and it's fine. It's absolutely fine. And having that reassuring sense of my own capacity And that's what it is. It's knowing that you have the capacity to settle down yourself without doing anything, really without doing anything. I know that's not what you're being told. You're being told you need to meditate or tap or do some affirmations or whatever. Go for a run, maybe even, to feel okay. But actually your system has the capacity to do that all by itself without any willpower and without forcing it to change. It's just understanding how it works better. So yeah, there's a get curious about willpower and where you might be using it or abusing it or it failing you in your life on a kind of day-to-day basis, and have fun with that. Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.